Wasn't that sold to us as all we gotta do? And it was done and over with on the pond.
No, it was
Pretty
sold
sure
at,
I had a conversation with the mayor at the time, and he says, yes, we're just gonna dredge it out, and that's the end of it.
well, do you like the way it looks?
No, I think it was like shit.
I agree.
Told them that in the first place.
I agree.
Don't look that.
I agree. So now it's time to fix it, right? Or do you want us to just not spend the money and leave it? I was always under the assumption that we were gonna make it look pretty. And the whole point of that was, and the whole reason, not only did we have to dredge it, but they wanted to widen it a little bit, and we ran into rock.
Yeah.
Going north,
Deep.
deep rock going north. So then it became just dredging it and now trying to make it look pretty instead of doing, so that's where we're at right now. Yes, go ahead.
The dredging process has not been finished though.
Yeah, that's part of what they gotta come and finish, and then we
Because-
want them to do phase 1 and phase 2 while they're here.
So they're coming back to do from Fifth all the way down to Murphy's Pond.
That is the
To do
school.
this, to do it properly, they gotta come back and fix their mistakes from where they sank in, and all those cattails need to come out.
That's not our.
That's not our property, that's the school. So with,
There has.
Just Murphy's Pond area, you're not in charge of the, okay.
Correct.
That's been drain tile.
that's been
I
drain
didn't know
tile.
if you knew that.
Okay.
That's what happened last year. That was all part of the project, was drain tiling that, and then
And
So
that
ours-
was in collaboration with the school, was the drain tile?
yes, that was my understanding, right?
It was not a city project.
It's not a, yeah, drain tiling in the school was not a city project, right?
So maybe in the future, talk with the county and the school about taking care of all those cattails, because that's going to create a bigger issue down the road for flood. You still need the slopes and the gradual drainage, and the cattails will eventually come back. But we have to do it in Sioux Falls all the time, all the drainways, we have to clean out all the cattails.
Yes,
So this might be something that, be it
joint venture,
joint venture between all three entities.
I would love to.
And just to interject, I think we kind of went full circle and need to be in our engineering meeting here. Down the road, we're gonna see something with that whole stretch of natural waterway, because once the trailer park's gone, something's gonna have to be done there before they can even build anyway. It's all gonna start at one point and flow towards the river, because we know there's a couple bridges there that need to be replaced. One is kind of collapsing, there's a bridge one that's kind of collapsing on private land. So at some point, something is gonna have to get done. It will be another project. Time-wise, I don't know, but it's gonna be a discussion, because like she was talking about and what you're talking about. And the engineer even knows that, there's gonna have to be something for drainage. And that's a natural drain, and it's gonna have to get fixed or updated or repaired or something, but it's gonna take everybody to do it. It's not gonna have to be the city that takes care of it, because everybody grew around and everybody washed their hands. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Come up to the podium so they can hear you on here. 'Cause we
My
didn't fix
question
you.
is this, when you were talking the annexation, for the new division, I'm assuming that everything on between the Black Angus farm and the Nahava acreage was annexed at the same time. Is that correct?
Grant Park and Village Crossing, that is correct.
He's shaking his head, no, you're
Are
saying.
you talking,
I'm talking where they raised the level about this high.
okay, yep,
And
okay,
they
yep,
have an access going in.
yep,
Yeah.
Okay, so
okay.
that's been annexed,
Yes,
okay? Has anybody looked at what they did there? What's that little green pipe that's coming out? Is that supposed to be a culvert or a
That's just
drainage?
temporary.
Temporary.
Temporary for the road to get.
So they are going to put in an actual honest to goodness real
Yeah.
culvert there
Yes.
that's
We're lucky
gonna
they put that.
not just back everything up?
yes. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. All right, back to Murphy's Pond.
Definitely busy. So if we know we have to do this drainage project, and we know we have to do the city and the county and the school to get it all done, if we knew that all of this was gonna have to be redone because of the annex, are we gonna consider impact fees to the developer that's causing all of this water work that we have to do now? Because we wouldn't have to do it if there wasn't an annex.
Yes, we're considering impact fees.
Okay.
That's a conversation we've been having. Yep.
With this,
But But this is what we're talking about right now, is Workers'
We're
Comp.
getting off this.
So I'll make a motion to approve both phases of the Marquee Pond.
And do I have a second?
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. New business. Okay, consider variance for 520 South Sixth Street. This would be my father-in-law, Jerry Peterson. He's in the back of the room. Basically what it is he's building a shed. And what he currently has for a shed right now is on the property line. He would like to continue with that, but to do the right thing, he needs to be considered for a variance. P&Z approved the variance last night,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
So now it's just up to first and second it. Do I have a first and a second?
I'll make a motion to approve variance.
And a second?
When did P and Z meet? I didn't see anything on the website.
P&Z meeted last night at 6 o'clock, right before our normal meeting.
Where was that?
Here. And it was on I'm assuming on your website, I read
It was not on
something.
the city website anyway.
No, it was posted down on the door, down there.
So you had one piece of paper posted on a piece of glass in one place in the city, and that's public notice.
Yes, that's all that's required.
Interesting.
Okay, so
Second,
I'll second that.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Variance passes. All right, we just need to do a first reading. First reading is ordinance 284, the establishment of combined park and rec board in the city of Baltic. Anybody have any questions on my council? All right,
Can we come down to City Hall and read all these ordinances so we know what you're passing?
sure. Yeah, you bet. You can call down there and they can send them to you in an email, if an individual ordinance, or you can come down and look at the whole big book. You are more than welcome.
When's City Hall gonna open up?
We are waiting on a tape and texture guy, and then once he comes to tape and texture, we will paint and it'll be back open. The floor just got done this weekend. It's a little fumy in there, but, all right.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 284.
Oh, we don't need to make the motion, this is just first reading. Yep. Yep. First reading of ordinance 283, which is the city of Baltic, South Dakota, an ordinance amending the manner for calling special meetings, be it ordained and enacted by the city council. So there's the first reading of that. All right, I would like you guys to consider a quote from Banner regarding a water study that needs to be done.
I'm sorry, did you read it?
I don't have to read it out loud, I just have to read the top of it.
Well, how are we gonna know what it is?
Then you can go find what the ordinance is. Would you like to?
Okay, so where is it posted again, so I can make notes? I wanna,
Council all this stuff, people know what you're talking about.
where do we find?
I can certainly read it. On the second Tuesday of each month at 7 p.m., the city council shall meet in the city hall or other designated place to consider, take under advisement, and act upon such business as may come before it. The council may adjourn, postpone, or otherwise reschedule the regular meeting. Special meetings may be held at the call of the mayor or by any council members at any time to consider such matters as to be specified in the call for a meeting. This is the first reading.
Can that be posted somewhere so we can?
It will be, I believe it'll be posted on our website once it's approved, right? Once we do a first and a second, isn't that how it works?
Can the public see what it is before you approve it?
Yes, you can go down and read it and see it.
Why can't it be publicly, why do we have to go to city? Okay, just put it on the website, so everybody can.
I don't know what our,
As I understood, they were having trouble getting access to the website that Julia's given us. She's been out the old, she's got the access.
correct,
So
Julie is the only one with access to the website.
at the moment,
that's being worked out as I.
and it's being worked on as we speak.
Okay. So what are we gonna do for a solution for these meetings, then, so people know what they are?
So if I may say something,
Go ahead.
if it's also my understanding on how municipalities work, that's part of the 24-hour deal as well, as far as giving out your agenda list. And so if you got a question, about, okay, let's say item this, what we're discussing right now, that 24-hour period before the meeting is so people can go read, what this is about.
And what I'm asking is if can there be a communication vehicle so people can see it? Because there have been packets posted with the agenda in the past on the website that didn't happen this time. I'm just asking that to be a consistent action, or on the Facebook page, it's very easy to add a PDF.
It would be a consistent thing, and it would have been done if Julia wasn't in the
So
hospital
would
and
it
sick.
be a reasonable solution to put it on Facebook then, so people can see what it is that you're proposing? Because right
I
now-
don't know, Facebook is considered a legal avenue
It
such
doesn't
as,
have to be legal at this point, it just has to be communication. If there's
I get what you're
nothing
saying, but we have
legal,
that's why we have a website, is our communication. And
but
sometimes things don't
nobody
work.
can manage it right now, Tracy. So
Well, I'm aware of that, Deb.
So how
You
are
don't-
you communicating?
we're all adults.
All right, we're gonna go on.
We're all adults.
We're gonna move on. So I need you guys to consider a quote from Banner regarding the water study. I will let you go ahead and talk about the water study.
Okay, so this study is kind of a follow along to the next step of what we had done previously on the wastewater side. It's evaluating the water system for the community, and kind of an overall system analysis, evaluation, look at the same potential growth areas that were identified in the wastewater study, and evaluate what upgrades, if any, may be needed to serve those in the future, and kind of give you a document for planning and kind of, looking into the future. It's basically considered a 20-year plan of what potential upgrades and improvements might be needed that follow along with some of these potential growth areas. We would also update the water system model. So that would also encompass all the existing part of the system as well, that could potentially point out some deficiencies that are existing there. There might be areas of town that have 4-inch water lines, for example, and that could be something that's identified as in an established part of town that could be a future project. So it's not only looking at growth and new stuff, it's looking at the existing system and potential upgrades that could be needed there. It would also be an opportunity to probably update the water system mapping as well, to just make sure that we have everything, any recent or not recent what system changes included in this map and the model.
Okay, and so for them to do that, it is a 28,500 request, a quote, to be able to put this study together. So I either need to know if we want to approve, deny, or table it.
Question, may I ask a question? That's the quote. What are the hours involved for 28,500?
Pat, what are the hours involved in 28,500?
I don't have that broken down that way, I guess.
Additional question, are these the only people that can do that kind of work, or did you have other bidders?
This is our engine, this is the city engineer, and that's why we go to him for the bid.
So it's the sole source.
Yeah, that's why we hire them every year, yep.
So I guess I can add that fee is an hourly to a maximum, so it's not a lump sum. We'll, bill hourly as we do work up to that
Up
limit
to that
and
amount.
not exceed it.
They will not exceed it.
Right.
So if we don't get up to that amount, they won't charge us that full amount, but
Right.
it won't exceed that.
Yeah. This is basically the same fee structure we used for the wastewater.
The wastewater.
plant as well.
Pat, but we're still when we're redoing roads and everything, case in point, the Elm Avenue, or the Elm and the Oak.
Yep.
As we were redoing those, we were upgrading those with the pipes at the same time, since it was a package deal, correct?
Right. And so, and that's a good example of Elm. I mean, there was a plan or a report like this that was done back in 2015 that was part of that project so that you could apply for state funding and receive state funding. So this planning document is also that first step in applying for future funding as well.
Right.
Thanks for the reminder.
Make a motion to approve.
I need you're approving the 28.5.
5,000 plus applicable taxes for the water facility plan.
Okay, and do I have a second? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? That passes. Okay,
Thank you.
now we are on to consider a quote from Lowe's Tree Service in regards to the tree removal. If you guys remember, Miss Donovan came in and there was that big tree along our drive-through of, what is that, First Street? And it is like really close. If you've been down there to look, it's really close to her house. She asked us to remove that tree because it's moving her basement. We got a quote, for $3,500. It, removes 2 stumps. It removes both of those trees that are in that driveway. That is the cheapest quote that we have received.
Sounds, yeah, that sounds, yeah.
Excuse me. The city is paying to remove those trees?
They're on city property. They're just, the roots are growing into her house. That's why we're moving them.
No.
Yeah, it's a road through a street.
Well, in Sioux Falls, we removed our own.
Yeah.
This
Yeah, this is almost involved.
Well, when mine start doing that, I'll keep you guys in mind, because I've got some on my boulevard, so.
These are boulevard.
These are boulevard trees. These are in our through street if we were to make that a through street.
It's to the west of her house.
It's to the west of our house. So First Street was going to continue if we moved that way in development. First Street would continue in there, and they both are literally in First Street. That is the city property.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
I know I'm getting predictable here, but was this a solo quote or did you have more than one bid?
She did mention, no, there was multiple.
there was multiple. This was the
The
cheapest.
low bid?
This is the lowest. Yep. Okay. We can either approve, deny, or table. I need a first and a second on whichever you choose to do.
I make a motion to approve that quote and get that to you guys.
Yeah. Carrie, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in favor, okay. All right. Claims payable. I need a motion to approve in second. Travis, you looked through those. Did they look good?
Yes, they are good.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
And second?
Second.
Brendan? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Maintenance report. He's on Zoom.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, can you hear me?
Kind of.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so the maintenance report, I'll give that to you here. Starting with water and pump stations, we did our monthly water sample was done. Monthly.
Dan Halser's our.
So the monthly net DMR report was done. We cleaned baskets. Let's see, Baltic Heights lift station was mowed. South Dakota 811 locates were done.
Go ahead, Dan.
Okay. New water meter was installed at 502 David Avenue. Streets and maintenance, we had street sweeper was throughout the town, got that done. We mowed areas near the tree pile and trimmed the trees nearby. We burned the tree pile that we had. Replaced a brake switch and gauge wheels on our X590 John Deere mower. Replaced the gauge wheels on our 1570 John Deere mower. City and office construction, we removed a ramp and flooring, raised the ceiling, sheetrocked and insulated, and built a partition wall. Lawn care and landscaping, we did the river park. I'll start with that. We mowed the park campground, trimmed and removed some trees from the park, mowed the foul lines and painted, mowed the baseball field, dragged the infield for preparation of upcoming baseball games. The bathrooms were cleaned and opened. Baltic Heights, we mowed the foul lines and painted there as well. Bases were set out. We mowed the baseball field, dragged the infield for preparation of games up there as well. Bathrooms were cleaned and opened. Mowed the park and trimmed and removed trees in the park. Bird Park we mowed, and the old wooden picnic table was removed due to safety hazards from there. We trimmed and removed trees as well. Murphy's Pond we mowed, and we had agricultural fabric laid down, and riprap was placed by the culvert that leads off of Bulldog Avenue into Murphy's Pond. The water tower park we mowed, and then for training we had our new maintenance men, Miles and Brad. They got their state spraying certification, so they got that done this month. Flags, we have, flags were replaced along Bulldog Avenue, fire department and city office, and for upcoming senior graduation and Memorial Day that's coming up. Christy Nome had ordered flags at half staff for the former state representative Catherine Davis, and also in honor of the police officers Memorial Day. President Biden ordered flags at half staff for the passing of Vice President Walter Mondale. And that's the completion of my report.
Thank you, Dan. All right, next would be the administrator report, and due to circumstances, she is not here. And building inspector report, due to, he is in Pierre at meetings for building inspecting, so he cannot give us a report. Due to unforeseen circumstances, the administrator is not here, so we will not be having a report from her, and also because of same thing for the finance officer report. Mayor report. Just been working on putting together this Parks and Rec board based on doing our Build Baltic that we put together, that it was noticed that that is something that people would like in this city. So we're going to look into that a little bit more. So we had our first readings to be able to see if that is the direction we want to go. Been working on helping get the office finished and furnished so that we can open back up. And we'll be also working on getting possibly a temp person in there so that the phone is answered 24/7, because just one person answering the phone has been rather difficult. I can't think of anything else at the moment, so I'm just gonna stop there. Yeah, oh, yeah.
How's the river?
Oh, my river park information?
Yeah.
I do have a quote. I have a couple of quotes to remove it entirely, to put a spillway, the dam, excuse me,
Yeah.
the dam. We're talking about the dam down at River Park. I have a quote to remove it completely, to put make it a spillway, or trying to repair it. We're in the process of working with the engineers on what is the right thing to do and everything. So that is moving forward, and we're working on it. It is not an easy move through. Yes, go ahead.
On that, Ryan Sending, 610 South
Sure.
6th Street. Is damaged.
Yeah, that.
All you, an easy way to get around having to put in a spillway or anything like that, buy a bunch of riprap. Build up riprap. That will stay there. You can cover the concrete wall with that. It'll keep you, it'll be a dam. It'll also be a little bit of a spillway when the water gets high, and you won't have erosion.
Yeah, well, we're looking at several options. I'm just giving some of the options that are.
Well said, yeah.
Yeah,
That would save a ton of money.
Yeah, oh, yeah, no questions asked. Part of the problem, and if anybody knows this, the city owns the west side, Corps of Engineers has their hand in the middle, and a private investor owns the east side. So putting all three parties together when one doesn't want to pay for it becomes extremely difficult. That's what we're trying to work through. So I'm trying to get all options together so that we can all look at all options. Yes?
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
I thought you were pointing at somebody
No,
else.
I was pointing at you.
And so the dollar amount, the reason why we haven't gone and just fixed it on the city dollar, I wanted to elaborate a little bit because it's not a cheap fix. I mean, you're looking anywhere from $250,000 to $15 million. And so it's a project and a process that isn't going to get done overnight when one party or two parties don't deem it necessary. And their idea of deeming necessary is different because, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I know the park means a lot to a lot of people, but it doesn't infringe on, what do I want to say, housing, businesses, et cetera, along that line. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I just want to make sure I'm clear on this. And so one of the people or parties involved, it's not a priority to get this handled right away. And so by that happening, it creates other issues. In past meetings, we've talked about the big old, notch going out there in the corner, I think,
Erosion.
yes, the erosion that you brought up. We cannot physically go out there and fill that in. That's because we will be in big trouble with,
The railroad.
the railroad, the
Yeah,
Corps of
that is-
Engineers,
Corps of Engineers.
et cetera, because yes, we own that land, but because it butts up and touches the water, we physically have to have their okay, their blessing, et cetera. So,
You're polluting the waterway by doing that.
yes.
Exactly. So we have to be very careful.
Right.
And several
where
different
I was
options.
fishing
Yeah.
for is there.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to elaborate on that because I know everybody wants to save the park, wants to save the ball field and all that, but it is a process and it is a process that's continuing.
So explain this to me so I can come out of the confusion and into the light. How is it that we can put riprap all the way along that roadway on the west side of the street? But when we get to the curb where we're getting the water force and erosion, we can't put riprap there. Because we're still touching the water. To me, it's one and the same thing.
I can answer that
Help
for
me
you
out
now.
with that.
So when they put that riprap in there, that wasn't Baltic, that was Minnehaha County Water. The River Greenway project all the way down there, that started up here in Baltic. You can put so many feet of riprap in a river without needing DENR engineers, all these people to sign off on it. And then you can skip and do the same, say 50 feet, whatever it is. So that's why when you look at it, there's spots that's done really, really well, then there's a blank spot, and then there's another good spot really, really well. If you were to do that continuously, you would have to have so many ridiculous permits, it's ridiculous. We were looking at like trying to pull those dead trees out of the river. Can't do that because of the catfish habitat. The river is, it's really a nightmare.
Yeah.
So yes, this has been working for years where they've been talking with DENR. They had a full survey up and it was like $600,000 to fix all that. But then the state's not gonna pay for it because it's not impacting everything Aaron said and emergencies. It's under the bottom shelf of their priority.
Yeah, because it's only
it doesn't
impacting
matter.
the park.
It's park. It's not like it's gonna affect emergency services, housing, stuff like that.
Where it's a road,
I appreciate the explanation. Aaron, I just want to clarify for you where I'm coming from.
Oh, absolutely,
It's not that I worship that ball field down there.
right.
I have investment in that ball field down there for 40+ years.
Yep.
My whole point with this city council was, before you have people out there saying, I want you to take care of the resources we've already given the city and paid for already, instead of indebting for I want.
And I agree with you 100%, and that's why I wanted to bring it up and talk about it, because I did drive out there and look at it myself. I mean, it's gonna be done. I mean, something's gonna happen one way or another, whether it's gonna get fixed or whether it's gonna keep eroding. You know, it's a time issue. And unfortunately, time is not something that is gonna be in our favor.
I explained to Tracy when she and I talked off meeting about this. Years ago, that ball diamond was actually diamond shaped.
Right.
And people who knew ball said, let's make it a ball field.
Right.
And at that time, it was proposed that we move the plate to the center outfield and have back-to-back plates, concession stand and everything out there because of the river. But we had a city government at that time who didn't think we knew what we were talking about. And now unfortunately, it's coming back to haunt us.
And
Because had we done that, we wouldn't be at risk for our ball field. 'Cause
absolutely.
it'd just be grassland.
And to be honest with you, I've looked back in the maps and I know exactly what you're talking about. The oldest map that I've seen is from the mid-40s. And it shows that as a diamond like you're talking. But the river has also changed tremendously in the direction.
And it's gonna continue to change.
Yes.
Absolutely, but I just wanted to, touch base on that, and the reason why is because I don't mean any disrespect to you, if I said it wrong, I guess, on what it means to you or to the town or whatever. My point was is that I wanted you to know that something was happening and it wasn't falling on deaf ears. And that's what I want to make sure going forward with everything, is that something is getting looked at, something's getting addressed, whether it's moving today by an inch or moving tomorrow by a mile. You know, I want to give the information, I guess. if
Yeah,
that's-
you lost 3 foot since last fall.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, since this is a core of engineered issue.
Pardon
It's a waterway issue.
Right.
that City of Baltic, is no offense to anybody, no disrespect.
Yep, no,
City of Baltic is not equipped for this.
Agreed.
Shouldn't the Corps be taking the lead on this? Shouldn't we be putting pressure on them to take the lead on this?
They've been out and surveyed it, and again, there are other things in the state that are of more priority, but it's just.
their answer is because it's just affecting the park and not our infrastructure or something else, that it's the least of their worries right now. So we fall to the very bottom, and we feel as the city, I feel, and people do as well, that we need to look at it now and have a thought process and an action to it. Whether we're, and again, to get all these parties in the same room and have a conversation has
Right,
be proving too impossible. It's that way.
And now there are things you can do to get around some of those codes.
Yes,
You can work in the wintertime. We're not allowed to touch the levee at all during the summer unless we get all those permits. But in the wintertime, we don't dredge the river, okay? There's things you can haul in riprap, you can do all kinds of things to take care of the banks. You're not touching the water, you're just doing the soil.
that would be a gray area that we would have to address.
We could certainly look at it.
It's something you can do. That would help the erosion by adding all that riprap. It would help erosion and help your dam, just food for thought.
Yeah.
and that's the point. And that's good information, because that's why I want to expand on the information, because that's something I didn't know. But you're here and you're listening to this conversation, that is good to know. We can reach out and find out what we can do during the winter.
We can't volunteer that information.
Well, and right now is the perfect time to be looking at some of this
Right.
to minimize impact to our city finances, because we've got stimulus and grant money out there that could be playing instead of letting it go to surplus.
If you want, I can give you the guy's name and number who's in charge of the Sioux Falls levy. If you have questions, him and his operators can help answer those questions on what you can and can't do.
That would be great.
Okay. All right, thank you. Now we will move into executive session for matters relating to personnel. I need a motion.
Motion.
And a second? All in favor, say aye. Opposed?
When you go into these executive committee meetings
Uh-huh.
and you make a decision,
We have to come out.
do you not have to come out and tell us what you decided?
Yes, we come out and we make a decision, and then it's posted in our minutes on what paper? I forget, the Tribune? The Del Rapids Tribune? Yeah.
Who did that?
I just want to thank you all for the introductions at the start of the meeting. I asked for that last time. I appreciate the respect you showed by giving us that. And I know we're all worried about Julia, she's in everybody's prayers and concerns, and I know you guys are missing her horribly. I hope that any requests that I made for communication were taken not as an additional hardship while you guys are trying to fill that space that her absence has left, because I know it's huge. But at the same time, be grateful for the people who have an interest in this community, who don't want an apathetic community. It's one of the worst parts you can possibly have. So transparency is a wonderful thing, and I encourage you to continue to do that and be there for us. Thank you for your
Thank you.
service.
Yes.